So, hello and welcome to Blueprints Behind Business interview series. I'm your host, Brad Douglas, and today I'm excited to be joined by Matt Bernhardt with Stickboy. Matt, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and also Stickboy.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Michigan. Grew up there pretty much most of my young life, and then around 23 years old, moved down to Florida. So been here for around 20 years, and just couldn't stand the weather anymore. Had to get out of there. It was dark and gray during the winter times, and not a lot of snow. So yeah, just wasn't for me. I like waking up to the sun every single day. So. Um, Yeah, I've been enjoying that ever since, trying to get outdoors more and more, but doesn't seem to happen as often as I'd like. But yeah, so we started Stickboy back in 2007. My Met my wife in 2006, and she was working at Wink News here locally as their assistant art director. And I saw the work that she was doing. I'm like, you're way too talented to be working for somebody. You need to start your own thing. And so this was the time when HD was starting to become regular in the norm, and everybody was kind of making that transition over. And she does like the 3D motion graphics, kind of like the intros of Sports Center type stuff. And so she was helping them get that switched over to HD, and just blew my mind, the graphic level. I'm like, I've never seen people do this type of stuff before. So after about 6 months of, you need to really do this on your own, she finally got pushed enough and was ready to take the leap. And so we started, and originally it was trying to go after more news stations and help them as well. And then the crash happened, and all the budgets just went to zero. Nobody was spending on anything. And so we're like, okay, now what do we do here? Um, so then we're like, well, you're really good at branding TV stations. I'll bet we could probably brand small businesses and give small businesses a really high-end look like the big boys. And so started doing that. And then people were asking for websites, and we're like, well, okay, let's try websites. So we did websites, and people were really excited about the stuff we were doing, and it became larger websites, then e-commerce, then big e-commerce. And then 2010 came along, and we had this idea for a coupon platform. And this was around the time when Living Social and what's the other big one? Groupon came about. But I hadn't heard about them at the time. It was just, that was when we came up with the idea. So our concept was completely different from them, whereas theirs was more of a one deal a day kind of thing. Ours was, what if we created a platform where consumers could go find anything they wanted whenever they wanted, whether it was dry cleaning, fence repair, restaurants, massages, whatever, anytime they wanted. All they would have to do was give a piece of information, a phone number, an email address. So the business owner could then market them. They'd get to try a new service at a discount. And so it was kind of a win-win for everybody. And so we developed this platform, and I think it was about 10 months later, we ended up getting acquired because we had built it out. We had built it in such a way where we were going to start here in Southwest Florida, but we had picked out 50 of the biggest cities in Florida to then expand to. So we built out all those pages on the platform to start getting ranked in Google. And we had empty pages ranking on the first page of Google in all these cities for all types of amazing coupons, like restaurant coupons, massage coupons, but there's nothing on the pages. So we had structured it in such a way Google really liked it. And so just met the right person at the right time. He was really excited about what we were doing, and we had acquired probably a couple hundred customers here locally, and he ended up acquiring that business. And so we didn't end up going along with it. We kind of turned the development team over to them, and we didn't go along with it. But we were like, all right, we built platforms, or we built this platform. We've learned a ton. Why don't we build software and applications for businesses and help them really streamline the businesses, get more efficient, and do whatever those types of businesses need to do, we can build it for them. And so that's kind of where we transitioned from more marketing websites to doing software and applications. We had actually years later, we still dabbled in the marketing and the websites, but we transitioned it over to its own business unit, which is Vector Digital, and that's all they focus on is marketing and websites. And so yeah, ever since I think it was 2012 is when we started building platforms, and we've just gotten more into blockchain and machine learning and all those types of things. And now we've added a few years ago, we added managed IT services into the business as well. So technology, basically, we build custom technology for businesses and entrepreneurs wanting to do better with their business and get more efficient.
Fantastic. I mean, what an interesting story, and a journey that you've been through so far.
Yeah.
Obviously been very successful in getting, company up and running and transitioning out. When you think about starting your own business, and of course you've had quite a journey, what are some of the misconceptions of running a business, and how have you guys addressed those?
I guess misconceptions, I would say, a lot of people that don't own their own business, they kind of look at business owners from afar and they see that, oh, maybe they're not at the office, 9 to 5 once the business has matured. Maybe they're, doing some other things. They're having fun. They're living their life, and they think, oh man, owning a business is so easy. I got to do it. But they don't see the first 5, 10 years of grinding, working the 14, 16 hours a day, and very little vacation, and the
Mm.
stress, and you're trying to figure out every single part of the business. They don't see that part. They just see, kind of the benefits later on. So I think that's a huge one that people just think it's easy, but it's you're working probably 80 hours a week at least when you start your first business, and you learn and you get better over time. But that's the part they don't see.
Very common thread that I hear for sure, and it does take some effort in those early years,
Yeah.
for sure. So, thinking about that as well, you're already kind of sharing, but can you share a valuable lesson or piece of advice that you wish you would have had when you first started your business?
Yeah. So when you're first starting, you don't know what you don't know. So you're trying to do things as whatever comes to you, common sense, or you're reading books and stuff. But I would say getting like mentors and like asking questions. Okay, this is what I'm struggling with. How do I get an efficient sales team, or how do I build up my sales team, or whatever it might be. Asking people that are far beyond your experience level, their businesses are much bigger, they've gone through those growing pains, reaching out to them and having those conversations can make you go so much faster.
Mm.
So I think that would be a huge thing for young entrepreneurs that are just starting out, is really taking that time to find people that are where you want to be, whether it's in your space or not.
Mhm.
Uh, the amount of time you will save is tremendous. And I wish I would have done it a lot earlier.
Very valuable advice there, and great point. You mentioned you live in a world of constant change with innovation and everything else that comes around. How do you really stay adaptable to that business landscape, and staying innovative in your industry?
So there's a number of ways. I think it's important for people to get, into industry trade shows, um, whatever the industry might be. Go to those trade shows. I mean, you'll see all the new stuff coming. Uh, you come for 2, 3 days, whatever they may be. You're learning a ton. You're meeting a ton of new people. You're connecting with them. They're sharing. You're getting publications sent to you from these events. So you get to see a lot of stuff before most people, before it hits, the media and stuff like that. So I think that's a nice way. Um, Getting involved locally, if you have any industry associations or anything like that. You get to be around peers that are in your industry, and it's not a competitive thing. People are very willing to share in these associations and things. So you learn from them and you start talking, hey, how do you how did you guys get so far ahead on this, and that? And people tend to share, for the most part, not everybody, but most people will share. And just trying to read as much as you can on your industry, setting up Google alerts for topics that you want to know more about, or things that you feel are coming down the pipeline in your industry. There's really a number of good ways to stay on top of it, but reading and just kind of surfing Google and just staying ahead of the trends that way is a good way.
Wonderful answer. I find that myself, that networking with other like-minded people is extremely valuable to, keeping your business where it needs to be and staying ahead of the game.
Yeah.
So without you sharing too much, I know you don't want to get into a competitive situation, but could you provide a glimpse or, just what your future plans or goals are in your business and what you kind of envision as your next chapter?
That's a tough one because it's one of those things. You used to have like a 10-year plan and all that kind of stuff, and 10-year plans don't work anymore. Things change too fast. Um, but my wife and I, we do everything together, so we're always planning and strategizing, and it's funny, we never know where we're going to go, what we're going to be doing. We've got three kind of main parts of our businesses. We got Stickboy with the technology, we've got Vector with the marketing and websites, and then we do commercial real estate as well. And never would have thought we'd be getting into commercial real estate, years ago. But it's turned out to be fun and we really love it. But it's really, it took us, we had a really, I would say, slow growth those first several years. And now it's more about, I want to get efficient. I want to get much more organized. There's a reason why big companies are called organizations, because they're super organized. And so I want to get more and more organized and being able to really take off. And I don't think I want to really expand too much of our offering. I'm sure there'll be little nuances and changes and things that come along, but it's really getting really good and really efficient, and scaling the business is really the goal with Stickboy. There's just so much runway left in technology and things, and we've always adapted kind of with what comes along. So it's going to be a even crazier ride than it has been the last 20 or 30 years. It's going to be even crazier the next 20 or 30 years. So just getting ready and prepared for that.
Wonderful. Scaling effectively is great. Really like those thoughts.
Yeah. Goes
So
right in
if
line with what you do.
yeah, it would be fantastic. Um, you think about we mentioned it earlier, younger folks getting into the entrepreneurial spirit, or even, folks that are starting a little bit later in life. Is there any just golden nugget that you could provide that you could help people understand, or the journey that they might face and the challenges in their business? I know you mentioned earlier a little bit about, it takes some hard work, but anything else that you would like to share?
Um, it really, I mean, there's a million things to share, but I think doubt is the thing
Mm,
that stops people. And doubt is just, it's it's a word for scared.
mhm,
So when I looked around when I was starting out and I saw people doing it, I'm like, I mean, nobody's more talented, or nobody's more gifted, or nobody's different.
mhm,
Everybody's the same. We have different levels of, um, you know, um, we learn differently, or different things like that. But nobody has supernatural abilities, let's say. So when I think of things, I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it. I mean,
mm,
there's no discerning quality there he has that I don't. Yeah, he might be better at sales, and I might be better at business development, or we have different skills, but we all have the same abilities. So I like to really impart that you can do whatever you want. If you have a passion for it, it just takes studying, trying to figure out as much information about the topic as possible. And when you know as much as anybody else, what can anybody do to stop you? I mean, it's really just learning. Um, so studying the topic that you want to go after, super hard. Nobody can if nobody can outwork you, nobody's gonna stop you. I mean, it's just learn, learn, learn. I wish I would have done that when I was in school, because when I was in school, I did not care to be there at all. I wish I had a different mindset when I was actually in school, because I probably would have been even further along. So I don't know if that's valuable to anybody, but
It's,
uh,
I believe it's valuable. I think it's great insight. We all have our own journey to become leaders and start our own thing. How we go through school, how we start businesses or join a large corporation. I think that's fantastic advice. Kind of get rid of that fear and doubt, and in the right way, take the right leaps, and have your network around you that can also help you, which you mentioned earlier, is just fantastic advice. We thank you so much for your time today, Matt. It was great having you. Great learning more about your entrepreneurial journey and Stickboy. Wish you all the best. I love what you do for the community. And for all of you out there watching, look forward to our next episode. Thanks and see you soon.